Welcome back, everyone, to Talking Devils podcast, brought to you by talkingdevils.co.uk, your number one independent Manchester United podcast. And I'm here today, joined by Mr. Lee Lawrence and Phil Marsh, former Manchester United players. And we're here to preview this weekend's game against Norwich City in the Premier League. We're also going to talk about our previous Champions League fixture this week, and also we're going to talk about Anthony Martial, also on the show. First of all, Lee, come to you first. I haven't talked to you in a week. How's the form? How have you been? It's very busy coming up to Christmas.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, very, very busy, mate. 2 kids wanting everything in the world. Work's been busy trying to provide that for them. So, yeah, busy at the moment. But glad that we're back to winning ways and looking like more of a Man United team this week. So, yeah, all good in that respect.
It's good. That's good. And looking, I suppose, I know myself today, I finished my Christmas shopping today, and there's nothing more stressful than Christmas shopping. I can tell you that thing. Phil, also, I suppose we're all coming up to Christmas. You've been very busy at work, also busy playing football at the moment, your own festive fixtures at the moment. How's your form? It's a very busy time for you.
Yeah, not too bad actually. Obviously winding down a little bit at school because obviously only about just over a week left, so not as hectic as normally in terms of in school. But yeah, obviously the football side of things still training and got some big games coming up in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, over Christmas there's quite a lot of games and stuff, so still obviously busy with that, and obviously the new house and stuff, so plenty to be getting on with. And obviously, yeah, kids wanting loads of stuff for Christmas, so the shopping will be getting done probably in the next couple of weeks to make sure everything's sorted. But yeah, other than that, mate, all good, thanks.
That's good. That's good. And it's just like Manchester United in the transfer window. Everyone's just scrambling these last couple of weeks coming up to Christmas. You don't know what's going to happen. So many twists and turns. That's the I'd Christmas shopping to Manchester United's transfer window, because you just don't know what's going to happen next. But usually on the podcast these last couple of Fridays, it's been kind of doom and gloom. It's been kind of, we're hoping to get results, but in this last couple of weeks, we've been getting results. Under our new manager, Ralf Rangnick. It's been a very bright start to his managerial career. 2 wins. Obviously, we beat Palace in the Premier League on the weekend. Actually, sorry, no, we didn't win. We drew. I'll correct myself. We drew in the Champions League against Young Boys. Felt like a win because obviously the debuts and whatnot. But unbeaten, I'll rephrase myself, unbeaten at the start of the Ralf Rangnick era. Lee, I'll come to you first. Obviously, we talked about last Sunday briefly, because that was obviously when the first team were playing against Crystal Palace. 1-0 win, but by many accounts, a very impressive and dominating performance by United on Sunday. How did you feel about, first of all, Ragnick's setup, new shape, not what we're used to, and also the energy of Manchester United's performance?
Yeah, I think, like I say, we was all a bit sceptical of how the first game was going to go. We mentioned it last week that he weren't going to have much time at all to prepare the team for the match, and he wasn't going to spend that much time with them, off the field. So we weren't really expecting much, but you could see glimpses of what's going to happen. It looked like they pressed a lot more than they normally do, which we come to expect now. Self-admittedly, I didn't know much about Rangnick before he got to United. But we all heard about the press, and you could see it was evident from the start what we made against Palace. The players looked a little bit more up for it. They looked, like they wanted to run a little bit more, press a little bit more, and it looked nice. It looked fresh. A fresh beginning. They looked like they bought into the system already. And long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like, especially looking at the level of performance and the energy, especially if you look at that first 45 minutes. So I think the energy and the pressing was there, the aggressiveness in midfield, and you could see, that this is a much different tempo that we're used to seeing, kind of this season. If you look at the previous games, kind of the last couple of months, especially in the bigger games, we've been lackluster in terms of our energy in midfield, in terms of our press, in terms of our overall kind of industry, especially in the midfield area. But like, you've seen the likes of Sancho and Bruno Fernandes pressing from the front. Ronaldo covered the most ground he has all season, double the amount of his most sprints he done last Sunday, which I think that speaks volumes in terms of what we've been missing this season. So yeah, for me, very good performance. It was a breath of fresh air, especially the first half, because I think after about 60, 65 minutes. You could see these players weren't used to pressing. You could see us kind of petering out a bit. You could see that, we were a bit tired, coming towards the end of the game. But, all in all, very happy with the performance, especially if I just shout out to Fred, who I know Lee massively rates and has been one of his biggest supporters this season. Since Chelsea, he's been a very good player, but on Sunday he was outstanding against Palace, and very well taken goal with his right foot as well, which nobody was expecting that, but absolutely great finish. Phil, just yourself as well. What was your overall thoughts on the performance on Sunday? And also, just I'd like to pose another question: the performance of Marcus Rashford. He seems to be in a bit of a kind of a rut recently, since coming back from injury. Do you maybe think it's just going to take Marcus some time to maybe find his feet and get back to that kind of full sharpness, that we're all used to seeing Marcus display?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with both what you just said there in terms of the performance against Palace. I think first half, especially, was probably one of the best performances I've seen this year collectively. I think the only thing missing was obviously the goal. But yeah, as a team, looked a lot more on the front foot, a lot more of identity, and sort of, the players seemed to be all working in tandem, and I think it was a really good performance. Again, yeah, second half, they did fatigue a little bit after the hour mark, and it was always going to be one of them games. I did actually predict that, Keane, for the second week running. I think I may add that the result was going to be 1-0. So I'll just get that in there as well. But yeah, I think it was a good performance, as I say, a solid performance, and it was good for Fred. I think who's been outstanding. I'd obviously like to give him a special mention. I've given him a bit of stick over the past few months and stuff, but he's been probably one of our best players. Certainly in the last couple of games, he's been everywhere, and he's sort of on the ball now. He seems to be a little bit more consistent and a bit more quality. I seen him wrapping a few passes into the striker's feet, which I love all that, because that's the kind of standard and that's the kind of level that United should be used to, and the centre forwards obviously thrive off that kind of service. So yeah, great to see Fred, and obviously all credit to him for keep working hard and putting in them performances. Just touching on Rashford, I think when he came back, obviously he'd been out for quite a while, and he came back into the team and he looked quite good. Obviously he got a couple of goals, although his performances probably weren't back to what we've expected and what he's obviously used to, but obviously that just comes with match fitness. And I think for me, obviously now he's getting to a situation where he's been back now for probably 6 weeks from when he come back, and he's starting to get his match fitness up. Maybe his confidence isn't quite there yet, but I think obviously keeping him in the team and giving him that run of games will only do him good. And I think now with the Rangnick sort of where we're going to play, I think he's going to have a big part to play in that, because obviously he's got the pace and the fitness levels that we're going to need.
Yeah, I think if you look at Rangnick's system, Marcus especially, I think, can be fluid. I think in the sense of he can play either as that left-sided striker, or he can play in that left attacking midfield position. He can occupy either one of the positions, because he is versatile in that regard. The only thing I worry for Marcus is the form of Mason in these last couple of weeks. Mason's been getting goals and assists, and for me, I think his place could be in trouble if he doesn't pick up his form. But look, one thing we've always wanted in these last couple of months is competition for places, and especially in our forward players, for them to push each other. So I think we need to be maybe less harsh on Marcus. When I watched the game on Sunday, I was thinking, like, this is unlike Marcus. I was thinking, like, what's wrong with him? Because I even noticed last week against Arsenal, was at the game, he didn't press as much as he used to. Now I don't know whether that was down to the fact he was playing on the right most of the game, and that's obviously not his natural position, and he found himself there quite a few times against Palace as well. I don't know, maybe it's the fact he's not comfortable over in that right wing. But other than that, I don't think I can be too harsh on him, because considering the contribution Rashford has given us, especially in the last 2 seasons when he's been injured, and he's been scoring two back-to-back 20-goal seasons through injury. So I think maybe it's a case of there's physical fatigue there because obviously still recovering probably from that injury, and he's still obviously trying to find full fitness and form. But if you think about the summer as well, there's probably mental fatigue there over that whole thing happening in the Euros as well. Maybe we can take that into account as well. So look, hopefully he can pick up his form as quick as he can, because look, there's no secret Edison Cavani is coming back this week as well. Obviously Mason is finding the form, and look, Cristiano is the most clutch striker in the world. So like Marcus, I know this formation can benefit him and he can play in a number of positions, but we need to be playing our players who are on form at present. At the moment, he's borderline kind of off form at the moment. So I think we do need Marcus back to his best, because we want to be challenging top four and challenging in the Champions League, which is our goal now for the rest of the season. So, we do need Marcus back to his best. But I want to touch on the Champions League game, because since obviously it was complete contrast to what Sunday was. But the reason why I wanted to touch on this game, you two, even though let's face it, the game itself didn't bear much significance in terms of what's going to happen in the next round. We had top of the group confirmed before the game, but there was a lot of youth players in the squad on Wednesday, and a lot of players who are academy graduates and also a former teammate of you both as well in the squad. So I'll come to you firstly. Obviously, we've seen the squad list for the young boys game on Wednesday, and a lot of academy players, obviously Shore Thierry, Zidane Iqbal, Anthony Elanga, Mason Greenwood, Charlie Savage, Tom Heaton. For you, when you looked at the young players playing, and obviously a game, Champions League game under the lights at Old Trafford, what was your overall emotion seeing kind of that amount of youngsters playing a Champions League game under the lights at Old Trafford, especially in this kind of new regime under Ralf Rangnick?
I just thought it was fantastic, mate. I'll be honest. Like I said, the game was there was nothing on the game. If we won it, we lost it. I thought he'd done the exact thing what he should have done. Give the lads, even if they didn't get on the pitch, give them the experience of travelling with the squad and making them feel like they're part of that first team and they're there and thereabouts. You know, it's a massive boost and a massive confidence lift if they're just travelling to these games with the squad. To get minutes on the pitch, obviously a bonus for them. Some of the lads have, I think I heard Savage say on the commentary that his lad and Zidane, they've been there from 5 years of age, and they've both made their debuts together in a Champions League game. I mean, what more could you ask for? Like, absolutely fantastic. I mean, if they never go on to play football again, what a memory that is to have and to hold. Fair play to Ralf. You know, he could have let the ego get the better of him, and thought, right, I want to come in. We've got a result against Palace. Let's put a big team out. Let's get another results. Let's show them what we can do. Let's show them what I can do with my team. But it's kept to the Man United philosophies and the Man United DNA, and give the young lads a go. And I just think it was fantastic that he'd done that, and I was absolutely made up for Tom Heaton. I mean, he's been there a hell of a long time on and off, and for him to get his debut, it was. I felt quite emotional watching it, because I know how much hard work he'd put in over the years, and to finally make that, which obviously that would have been his goal from being a young kid. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, overall, I was very pleased that he put the team at what he did.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why, like, when Tom was coming on the 63rd minute, I picked up the phone straight away and I messaged you both. So with regards to it, because I know obviously that would have been a moment for you two as well, because you know Tom well, the both of you. So, Joe, it was a great moment to see that, especially 20 years on from signing for Manchester United. You make your debut in the Champions League. Like, there's no bigger stage to make your debut, Old Trafford in Champions League night. So I was very happy for Tom Heaton in that regard. Phil, what was your overall emotions when you've seen, like, you've made your debut for the first team as well, and you were playing obviously along the likes of Solskjaer, players like that. For them, then obviously that moment, for Charlie Savage when he came on, as Robbie Savage quite rightly said in the commentary, he came on for a World Cup winner in Juan Mata. Like, when you've seen that moment of obviously Robbie Savage being emotional, what were your overall emotions when all this was taking place at Old Trafford on Wednesday night?
Oh, it was fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, you can't not sort of, enjoy a moment like that. I think obviously for Robbie Savage being at the club as well, and seeing his son come through all the sort of the youth team and the academy, and then, finally getting a chance to play in the first team. It must have been a immensely proud moment for him as a dad, and fair play to the young lad Charlie Savage, who's come through that, because it's not an easy process, and not many players can say that they've played for Manchester United, and as Lee said, if he retired today, he could, nobody could take that away from him. And I think for me, it's just refreshing really to see that kind of thing. The manager there, he's obviously seeing that opportunity in that game with not much on the line, to sort of give a few of these players the experience of being involved in a first team situation, and everything that comes with that. It's going to the hotel before a game, the build up to the game, arriving at Old Trafford on the coach, in the dressing room, seeing how everything is. And I obviously remember that from my experience when I made my debut as well. So it's a fantastic moment for some of them kids. I put a tweet on to say that, that's a very special night for a lot of them, and they'll never ever forget that moment, because when you make your debut for a club like Manchester United, that's something that doesn't happen every day. And they'll all be sort of on cloud nine for a long time in the weeks to come and months to come. That moment's obviously a pinnacle really in a lot of people's careers, especially the lads who get to do that. So yeah, immensely proud of all them lads who got to do it, and none more so than obviously my good friend Tom. He's been at the club and obviously was with me a lot of that journey that I had. And I know how much that had meant to him the other night. And, obviously he's worked so hard, and I did actually text him saying congratulations, but I made my debut before you, so unlucky. But no, obviously great moment for him, and he's going to obviously want a bit more of that. And once he's tasted the experience of playing at Manchester United, especially at Old Trafford on a Champions League night, then it doesn't really get much better than that. So hopefully you can get a little bit more game time in the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, 100%. And look, we do still have tournaments like the FA Cup this season where Tom Heaton may get more games, because there is speculation that Dean Henderson may move on in January on loan. So if that's the case, then Tom will have opportunities to play this season. And look, even some of the youngsters, depending on what our cup draw is going to be, let's say we do progress against Villa in the FA Cup, maybe some of these youngsters may still get a taste of football at Old Trafford, whether it's Premier League or FA Cup, in that regard. But it was great to see all the academy graduates. And one thing we always reflect on, we always touch on this podcast, is how important the Cliff is at Manchester United, and the talent that the Cliff produces year on year on year. And to see that many young players playing for Manchester United a couple of nights ago, and even just Mason himself as well. Like, I know Mason wasn't in that, I suppose, section of the academy with the likes of Zidane and Charlie and Short-Hairy, but it shows the level of player that we're producing coming out of the academy year in, year out. So it was great to see, and hopefully as time goes on, some of these players will get more first team minutes for Manchester United, and if not at Manchester United, they will make it elsewhere, because our academy is forever producing gems out of there. But obviously all that was great this week, in terms of getting our first win, and then obviously seeing the academy graduates play their first team minutes. Then today, obviously, news breaks of Anthony Martial supposedly wanting to leave in January. He's going to hand in a transfer request at Manchester United. Obviously, he's been in and out of the team in these kind of last couple of weeks. He's been struggling with injuries and illness during the season, but at other times he has been very good for us on previous occasions. Lee, I'll just come to you. Obviously, look, we have a lot of players in forward positions, and we're kind of stacked in the attacking areas at the moment. When you've seen that Martial, obviously his agent has come out and said that he wants to move away in January. What were your thoughts when that headline came out today?
I think it's about time, if I'm being honest with you. He's been, like I say, a decent enough player for us over the years. He had a couple of great seasons, to be honest, and in them great seasons he scored plenty of goals. I I can't help thinking when we do our teams who we think we're going to play week in, week out on this podcast, it doesn't even enter my head anymore. I think he's only entered it once all season, to be honest with you. I thought he might have got a chance, but I don't even think of him anymore as even being a potential for a start, which proves something to myself that I don't think he's good enough, you know. That's not saying that he's not a good player. It looked at one point that he had the potential to be world class, and I think that's what United's been worried about, and the fans, that, you know, we let him go for a mediocre fee and he turns out to be a world class player, and it comes and bites us back in our backside. I think with the system that Ralph's going to play now, I don't think it'll suit his style of play whatsoever. I don't see him as a pressing forward at all. And I hope the lad goes on, and I hope the lad does well, you know. No ill feeling. I just think it's probably the right time now that he goes on and gets some first team football, and tries to progress his career more and get back into that French squad. Good luck to the lad, you know. He's done well while he's been here, but yeah, I think it's probably time that he moves on to pastures new, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you look at the overall kind of his time at Manchester United, it's been very kind of stop-start in terms of his form, in terms of his, you know, time in the team, because he's always kind of stop-start with injuries and loss of form. And really, I think Martial is a confidence player, because I think if you look at his time at United, you can see that the talent is undoubtedly there, and you can see that, you know, he has it in his locker, and on his day he's unplayable. But how often is his day? Like, it's very few and far between, you know. And you look at his goals return in a 6-year period for a supposed number 9 for Manchester United, that's not good enough. And you're looking at the levels of goals that Mason Greenwood is producing at a younger age. Mason's only going to get better. United are looking towards the future. Martial is 26 now, albeit, right, 26 is a very young age in football. But if you're talking about really developing in the future and like, you know, really wanting to move forward, you want to be looking at players like a Mason Greenwood, who, you know, isn't going to down tools, who doesn't have a history of downing tools. You know, there has been times where Martial, look, let's be honest with ourselves, there's been occasions when he's been on the pitch for Manchester United and he hasn't looked bothered on some occasions. And I'd probably take a bit of stick for saying that, because look, I'll be wholeheartedly be honest and say that there has been times where he doesn't look like his heart is in it. And maybe is that because he's not happy and he wants to move elsewhere. If that's the case, that's fair enough. But if I look at his time at Man United, it's been very stop-start. And for me, we need someone who is hungry and consistent. Mason is going to be that player. And I think if we're looking obviously at other strikers as well, especially the fact we're playing this 4-2-2 system, and if we're going to be playing that like going forward, obviously we're linked with other strikers who are, let's be honest, in terms of quality, better players than Martial. So I think maybe his time is up. And look, I know Newcastle United are on the horizon, and they are keeping an eye closely to this deal. I know Barcelona are keeping their eye closely to Martial's situation as well. So let's watch this space. Let's see what happens. And look, I wish him all the best, whether he stays or whether he goes. But for me, I think maybe time is up now. If you're looking at the current, you know, Manchester United squad we have, and as you quite rightly said, Lee, as well, how many times have we picked the starting 11 this season in games where they've been dead rubber games, but also other games where you've had players out? Martial has never come into the reckoning, and that's been kind of the same with you know, with quite a few other players who were on the fringes. But Joe Martial, if you look at the current overall squad, he doesn't have a place at the moment. And especially in this system where we're going to play a high press and you're expected to work hard, when he doesn't have a history of that, though the tide is against him. I think now is probably the right time to go, whilst he's still at an age where he can, you know, obviously reach his potential and maybe do it elsewhere. But Phil, obviously you're forward and yourself, so you could probably you can relate to a player like Anthony Martial in terms of, you know, having competition for places, you know, at the football club. For you, what do you think about this kind of situation now? Do you maybe think it is the right time for him to go?
Yeah, 100%. I think for me personally, the Martial situation, I think, him moving on at this moment in time is probably the right decision, and I think it's probably best that happens for both parties, really. I think, as we've just touched on, I think in terms of at United now with the new style of play, that's not going to suit his game. I think he's probably fifth or sixth in the pecking order for me at this moment in time. I think he looks shot of confidence, and when he does play, obviously, there is that sort of consistency factor that's always been there with Anthony Martial. Obviously, when he first signed, he looked, a really, really lively player, and I was really optimistic about what he could do. Obviously, a lot of fantastic moments, and obviously the goal against Liverpool sort of stands out for me as one of his big sort of moments. But we've not really seen enough of that for a long period of time with Anthony Martial, unfortunately. And I just think it's the right time for him now to maybe move on. And obviously, being the age he is, 26, he should be in his prime for me. And in the last year or two, certainly he seems to sort of took a few steps back from where he was. So if he does move away now and gets a new club, it's a fresh slate for him. And, that could be the turning point for him, and he could then kick on. And I wish all the best for him, because, he seems like he's a nice enough lad. But he's just obviously for one reason or another not quite sort of, hit the levels that we probably all expected him to. And obviously that's down to a lot of things. I'm not knocking the lad. He's had a lot of injuries. There's been really good competition for places. And I think it's just the right time now that he moves on and gets into another team where he's going to play week in, week out, gets his match fitness up, his confidence back. And obviously just, that's what you need to be doing as a striker. I can relate to that myself. If you play in a game and you don't play again for a couple of weeks and you're getting half an hour here and there, you can't really get into any flow, and you can't really sort of get your match fitness to where it needs to be performing at the top level, especially in the Premier League. So, yeah, I think, he's been a good servant overall when you look at, what he's contributed. But I just feel, he's not really going to, be in the reckoning for this current crop of players, and the right time for him to move on and hopefully sort of reignite his career.
Absolutely. And I think now is the right time for him to go. There's 6 months left in the season. And one thing known, as I haven't seen anyone really take into any consideration online, and when all the chat's been going on about this, is there is a Winter World Cup this year. So he's going to need time to get back into a team, get fitness, and get into Didier Deschamps' thoughts, because when he was in the United squad and he was on form in the last couple of years, when he was on form, he was getting into the squad and he was scoring goals. If he has ambition to get back into that French team, he's going to need to move away, because we all know the forward options they have with the Mbappes, the Griezmanns, Benzema's. Giroud is still knocking around. So, like, if Martial wants to, get into the France team, he's probably better off leaving Manchester United. Which, look, again, that's down to him. So it would be easy for him to stay on 200k a week, but it shows he actually cares about his football. That he is wanting to move on. Because there's been players at this football club in the past who stayed on a big wage and ran down their contracts. So in fact, if he wants to move, then that's on him, and that's great. Because he obviously wants to play football, and that's being professional at the end of the day. But before we get on to the next topic tonight, guys, do hit the like button on the video, drop your comments below, and hit that subscribe button. At the end of this video, Lee and Phil, between the two of them, they are going to pick the winner of a giveaway. I did put it up on Twitter earlier on today. So if you are watching, you may have seen my tweet earlier. So Wayne is giving away the Fergie's Fledglings books, and Lee and Phil at the end of the show will pick out someone from the comment section who will win this giveaway. So by the end of the show, do stay tuned. Drop your comments below, and we will at the end of the show announce the winner of the giveaway. Well, I'll ask Lee and Phil who's in the comments here today who should get the winning of the book. So do stay tuned, and look, we will announce that at the end of the show. And hit that subscribe button, most importantly, because we've a lot of exciting content coming, and we will have a new podcast coming Wednesday. I'll let Wayne announce that, though, because I'm part of it, but I'll let Wayne announce that one, because that's up to him. But anyway, big week obviously coming up this week as well. The Christmas fixtures, as we all know in the Premier League, is hectic. there's always great games and it's always entertaining. United are going away to Norwich tomorrow at Carrow Road. Obviously, Norwich are having their own problems with their whole COVID situation at the moment. That seems really up in the air at that football club at the moment. Dean Smith, who ironically we played earlier on the season, he beat us at Old Trafford when we played Aston Villa. He's there now, and they have the new manager bounce. Obviously, we have a new manager bounce now with Ralf Rangnick, so there's a lot of moving parts in tomorrow's game. But Lee, I'll come to you. Obviously, we've had a decent couple of away games, obviously at Villarreal, at Chelsea, and we've picked up points. And obviously, most recently, the last two Premier League home games against Palace and Arsenal. Going into tomorrow's game, obviously, it's again a very important fixture for Rangnick to pick up points because we have a good run of games between now and the 5th of March. For you, how confident are you going into tomorrow's game? Should we maybe stick with the same team that played Sunday with the likes of Fred McTominay midfield and with the front four of Bruno, Sancho, Rashford and Cristiano? Or do you maybe see a pending return for Edison Cavani, the team, because it seems like he's in the reckoning for tomorrow's squad?
Yeah, I've kind of got the squad written down right in front of me, and the squad what I've written down was the same squad as what played in the last match when we won against Palace. I wasn't aware until today that Cavani might have had a chance. I thought Cavani was ruled out at least until next week. I'd love to see Cavani start with the way that Rangnick sets up his teams. I mean, what a presser Cavani is up there. You know what I mean? And Ronaldo's looked like he's took that pressing on board. But if he's got someone up there like Cavani who'll press all day, he'll press for fun. That lets Ronaldo conserve that bit of energy to do his magic when he needs to do it. So I would love to see him come back in. And I think it would be great for the team. I think he'll keep McFred going there, McTominay and Fred. I think I think that's what he's going to start. Did Van der Beek do enough over the last game to warrant a place? I'm not sure. I thought he was having quite a good game, but obviously it was a bit of a dreadful pass for their goal and kind of went downhill from there. I think if he would have, if he wouldn't have made that mistake, he might have had contentions for maybe bringing McTominay and maybe swapping Van der Beek in there with Fred and giving that a little option too. But no, I've got a feeling that he'll stick to the same side that he's got and maybe put Cavani on the bench. I think Shaw played okay. He looked like he was, come back to a bit more form. He obviously set the goal up, a great cross. But I don't think he's done enough to outperform what Telles did the last couple of games when he's played. So I think he'll stick with Telles. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka looks like he's injured and out, so that gives Dalot a chance again. I wasn't, and I'm still not really overly sold on Dalot yet. But in the last couple of games, he's played a lot better than I thought he actually was. So hopefully he can surprise me. And I think overall, when this is happening, it's giving a lot more competition for places. And it's giving lads who thought they couldn't get the place to kick up the backside, which is, for me, that's what you want from a squad. With the way that Rangnick plays too, I feel like we're going to press for that first 60-odd minutes, 65 minutes maybe, and the intensity is bound to drop off. So if we've got the players, like we mentioned, who's on the bench, you can come on for that last 25, 30 minutes and carry on that philosophy, and we've got depth in squad. It's going to work. We're just going to keep the players happy, make them want to, buy into the system. And I think, again, with what we've got and the squad we've got, and now the new manager and the guys knowing that they've got the competition and wanting to impress, we should be running over the likes of Norwich. So hopefully, things cross. Yeah, we kick on from this point onwards.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you look at the way Norwich play, like the way they are quite open themselves. Obviously, Brandon Williams, I know, was on loan. He unfortunately won't be playing tomorrow. He's actually been playing decent football. Another academy graduate. He's been playing quite good. For Norwich, but the way they play, I think, could fall into our hands, especially with our high press. Can't believe I'm saying that. Manchester United and the high press. I've not said that since I was like 16 years of age when we had Sir Alex at the football club. Have not said them words in one sentence since then. But yeah, but with us, we're high press tomorrow. A lot of energy, desire, and look, I think if you look at the quality of player we have, I think we should be rolling over Norwich tomorrow. Now, obviously, look, I said that about Watford when we played them a few weeks ago, and we all know how that went. But I think there's a lot of players in the team tomorrow who still have something to prove. I know, they played fantastically well, against Palace last Sunday. And Reese pointed out in the comments, that was a 45-minute training session that literally Rangnick had before we played against Palace last week. But one thing I would say is Rangnick did say today that they'd done a lot of video analysis because of the weather, because they couldn't train in the weather. But what they did do alternatively is they did a lot of video analysis, and that's why the players knew what their roles were on Sunday. But if I look at the way that this team can play, and with the way they have Fred and McTominay kind of holding the fort in midfield, like in that 4-2-2 system, and you literally have them 4 attacking players who aren't stationary. I think one thing I did notice, I don't know if you guys did on Sunday, was they all kept the interchange and movement was fantastic. 1 minute Sancho was on the right, 1 minute on the left. Bruno was in as a second striker, but then at other points he was picking up the ball, in deep positions and creating chances. This formation, I think, suits us. And I think if you look at the Norwich backline tomorrow, they've been leaking goals this season. And I think if you look at the level of player, the level of creativity he had, and Lee, you quite rightly touched on, there's the likes of Cavani and maybe Mason or Rashford to come off the bench, depending on which one of them starts. We have enough there to continue this pressing system. And even in the midfield, I know Van de Beek, look, he was playing a good game the other night, but he did give the ball away, and that was maybe a lapse in concentration. And could we put that down to maybe not having the match sharpness that a fully fit Van de Beek would have, in that regard? Maybe is it down to that? I don't know. But one thing I will say is this team and these players seem to have a new lease on life. And let's see what they're made of now tomorrow. And let's see what they're made of in these next couple of weeks. Because, yes, look, we are 11 points behind the league. And let's face it, if you look at the teams at the top, it's going to be borderline impossible for all three of them to drop points and us to be in the title race. I'm saying that at this point in time in December because the way they play, not less now when AFCON happens and Chelsea and Liverpool really drop off and City don't sign a striker in January, then maybe look, there's a chance, but we'd really have to win every game between now and then. But this is a crucial period in our season, and we need to just win game after game after game. And if you look at the way when Solskjaer was the interim manager and he won 10, 11 games on the bounce, we kind of need a similar run from Rangnick to really not just keep up the pace, but to be in around the top 4. Because you look at the teams who are there, West Ham are playing some stuff at the minute, and they don't look like they're dropping points. Tottenham are going to be there. I know Arsenal dropped points in the last kind of couple of games, but they'll be there as well. They've no European football. So if we do want to be top 4, maybe challenging top 3 come the end, we do need to win a lot of games in a row. We do need a consistent run. We can't afford to drop points because you look at the amount of points and stupid points this season we've dropped. We can't afford to redo that much anymore because of the I suppose the running that we have from March till May is quite hard. It's kind of similar to the run we had from October to the end of November. Every game is going to be a tough one after that. So this period of time for Rangnick, it's important for him to get this new manager bounce, but also just to pick up these points because we need to save our season. Because if whoever the new permanent manager is coming in, they will need Champions League to attract the best of class player. I know the name Manchester United is enough to attract players, but if we want to attract players to win the league and win the Champions League, which is where we want to be, you need to be at that elite level. And if you're not going to attract them players. It's simple as that. But Phil, for yourself, is there any particular player you want to see maybe come in that's been kind of been on the sidelines these last couple of weeks? Obviously, we've seen Dalot and Tellez both come in recently, and they've both played well, but obviously they are a bit suspect defensively at times. Would you like to see them maybe maintain their place in the squad and maybe try give Luke Shaw and kind of Wan-Bissaka that kind of kick up the backside?
Yeah, most definitely. I think them two lads you just mentioned that deserve to stay in the team for the performances in recent games. And I think, the competition for places is at its best we've had it in a long time, especially in them positions in the fullback areas. So, yeah, I think Tellez and Dalot definitely deserve a little run in the team now. They've performed really well. I think they suit the system as well, and the way that Rangnick likes to play. So no reason why they shouldn't get their chance at this moment in time with the other lads being injured and out of favour maybe a little bit. I'm looking forward to obviously seeing the game against Norwich. I feel a lot more confident than I have done in a long time, really. Just obviously off the back of a few good results and a new system, a new style of play. I think the 4-2-2-2 formation was really good, and I think as you mentioned there, the fluidity within that is brilliant for the players that we've got, and I think it's going to be something that I think obviously as time goes by, with the type of players that we've got, I think that will really sort of start working, and we'll see the best out of some of these players that maybe haven't been hitting the heights that we've maybe wanted to, or that they've wanted to as well, like Sancho and Greenwood and Bruno, and I think they'll thrive out of playing this system. So yeah, really excited really to see how they can get on, and I'm a lot more optimistic and confident about the game against Norwich this weekend. I think it's a game that we on paper we should win. Obviously Norwich struggling at the bottom of the league, struggling to score goals, and as you said, elite goals a little bit at the back. So for me, it should be a game that we're going into full of confidence and sort of nothing to fear really. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how we can get on in that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of optimism, I think, from many fans because of that the level of performance we did have against Palace, albeit it was one goal, but it was the fact that we sustained attacks, it was sustained pressure. And that was only after 45 minutes training and obviously a lot of video analysis. Now he's had a full week with the players, and a lot of these players are rested, from last Sunday's game. So there is a lot of optimism going into tomorrow's game, and the fact that they may have a couple of players out, which look, if they had a full team anyway, we should be beating them by a country mile anyway. And that's no disrespect to Norwich as a football club. It's just the level of our first team players and the level of first team players are miles above. So we'll see what happens in tomorrow's game. I was going to come to a couple of comments with regards to the show. I was going to scroll up a bit. So this in regards to our run of fixtures. Reese says, here we go. There's loads up here. It's gone again. I don't know what happened. StreamYard is having a bit of a mare there. It says Villa and West Ham will be the tougher ties of the upcoming 12 games, but the rest are extremely winnable. Those two will be a battle. Yeah, 100%. I think if you look at the 12 games between now and March, they're probably the two toughest. Obviously, Villa will be away and West Ham will be at home. West Ham are always a tough test for us in recent years, and maybe Jesse Lingard will be coming back to Old Trafford as a West Ham player in that game. I will not like that because I'd get a horrible feeling he'd probably score against us, and then Millie Rock in front of the singing section. I can just imagine it now. I can literally just imagine what he do there now. That would just give me nightmares. And Victoria's Secret says, I have it there now, we need to improve our goal difference, as well as we have much lower goal difference to teams ahead of us. Absolutely. I think we're only on 0 goal difference now, whereas you're looking at teams above us from 5th and 4th, they're on +5 and +10, I believe, or something like that. Maybe the comments will correct me, but our goal difference is inferior to the teams above us. So we do need to pick up good results, and we need to start scoring goals because we do have problems with that in the league. Jim James is in the comments, and he says 5-0 tomorrow. That's optimistic. That's optimistic. Just come to more comments there now. And Shane says good evening, boys, as well. So good evening, Shane. Hope all is well, pal. But one of my favorite parts of the show is our starting 11 predictions, because Phil seems to be getting the score predictions right a lot lately, and he's also getting these starting 11 predictions a lot lately, and I'm not getting anything right, and I'm not liking this. So hopefully this week I'm going to get the starting 11 prediction and score prediction right, and if not, I'm going to have to surrender next Friday. But anyhow, first of all, Lee, give me your starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's game, and then following that, give me your score prediction as well.
Okay, mate. I'm going for the exact same team as Palace, mate. It's I think he's going to be nailed on, to be honest. It's De Gea, Delors, Lindelof, Maguire, Telles, McTominay, Fred, the both defending midfield players, Bruno and Sancho, the attacking midfield players, and Ronaldo and Rashford. I'd like to see Greenwood in there, myself personally. I think he deserves to, get a start, but I think Rangnick, with the system in place and the type of player Rashford was, he'd like to get him on form. He'd like to give him them running games because I think he'd fit the system superbly. So I think he's going to hope that Rashford finds a bit of form. Just going a bit on Rashford, I was just going to say to Phil when Phil was on about it, he missed pre-season, didn't he, Phil, with his injury? And I think if you ask any, especially a striker, it's massive setback if you miss pre-season. It's like he's still catching up now from the fitness levels where he should be within this period. So I think that's one of the main reasons why he's probably not up to speed yet. He needs, just needs that little bit of time. And we all know on his day what a player Rashford could be. So I think patience is the key with him at the moment in time. So yeah, I would definitely go for that starting 11. The other thing I would have said, and I've got to mention it because I've championed Fred a lot on this podcast, which and it's starting to show now, which means I'm not as stupid as many people think I am. But I think one of the main reasons is it's come to light that he's playing, a lot better than he was. He's not necessarily just playing as a 6. He seems to be pressing a lot more and finding decent balls and setting things up. I wouldn't be surprised over the season whether Ralf tries to put him forward a little bit more, maybe bring Van der Beek in with McTominay and give Fred a little go up top as an attacking midfield player. I think that could work out well. So I think that's one to watch for me.
Definitely, if you look at Fred, he was an attacking midfield player for Shakhtar before he came to Man United, and then Mourinho turned him into a 6.
Yeah,
Mourinho turned him into a 6.
I think you've started noticing now when he's got that freedom a little bit more now to go forward and show what he can do. He looks a complete different player, and I hope to God I'm right because, like I say, I love the guy's attitude. So yeah, Reece isn't getting a book.
For Redemption FC, for fuck's sake. Anyway, look, I think you've seen in the last couple of weeks, even when Carrick took over for them couple of games, is Fred was playing as more of a box to box. Like he was playing a bit further up the pitch. He wasn't as deep, and like obviously playing deep doesn't suit him. And we're starting to see the Fred that maybe we did sign, that we thought we were signing a couple of years ago when we did sign him for Manchester United. So look, let's see what happens with him in the next couple of weeks and months. And again, if we're talking about World Cup, the World Cup is coming up, and he seems to be getting into that Brazil team as well. So look, let's see how he gets on this. Hopefully he picks up his form, because all the talk that's been there in the last couple of months is we need to sign a DM, we need to sign a DM, we need to sign a DM. Maybe we still need to sign that DM and maybe play him alongside Fred.
To be honest, I still think we need. I still think we do need a world class. Like I think I've said it every time I've mentioned him. I just thought he's been a scapegoat for the old squad. I don't think he's been the worst by a mile. But I don't think he's the answer. I think I've said that many a time. I don't think he's the midfield player we actually need to progress and win the league. But I certainly don't think he's been one of the worst players we've had. So I wouldn't say, he's not an N'Golo Kante, or he's not at that level for me yet. But on the other hand, every manager we've had has played him. He gets in the Brazil squad more or less every game. You've got to have something about you to do that, haven't you? You know what I mean? So the managers and the guys who's picking him week in, week out must be seeing something what a lot of the supporters don't see.
Yeah, and I liken his situation to what Ander Herrera's was. Because if you remember when Ander Herrera first signed under Van Gaal, he was a box-to-box midfielder. Like Ander Herrera was a baller. Like he was literally a creative midfield player. Then Jose came in and turned him into a 6. Year later, we signed Fred, and he turned Fred into a 6. Don't know what Mourinho's fascination was with turning creative midfield players into hatchet men in midfield, but something I may have to take up with Jose if I ever meet him in the flesh.
I think it was just his philosophy of don't lose, wasn't it? I think he just tried to turn everyone into a team of don't lose. They don't look how well we do going up front and trying to win. His philosophy to me was be a team what don't lose, and I think that's why he always took that negativity with his players.
Yeah, I think you've seen that with the likes of, obviously he restricted Pogba, he restricted Herrera, restricted Fred, and now you're seeing obviously Herrera when he plays with PSG playing further up the pitch. Herrera under Ollie played further up the pitch. Fred, is it a case where now he's been given that kind of free role in his natural position of a box-to-box slash attacking midfielder that we're going to see a better Fred at Manchester United? And look, for me, it'd be absolutely poetic justice if Fred turns out to be one of our best players this season, because at the start of the season, we were all like, I'm not going to lie, I was saying get him out of the team. Like, I was saying just get at all costs. I was saying get him out of the team. But now he's in a different role. He's showing something different, and he's showing what he can give us. So look, let's see how he gets on these next couple of months under Rangnick. And I think this system will suit him in terms of high press, high energy, and that's what he's about. And let's see how he gets on. But Phil, do you have anything different to Lee? Do you think it's going to be the same 11?
No, I agree with Lee. I think for me personally, I think he'll stick with the same team. Again, I obviously said it last week. I think, when you've been on the back of a good win, unless you're forced into making a change, 9 times out of 10, you sort of stick with that team to just get the momentum and sort of the confidence into them players. I think probably the only other player that I maybe potentially could see come into the start 11 was Mason Greenwood. I think obviously he was the main player from the other night who took, probably, the most out of that game. I think he was our best player by a country mile. I think he looked really sharp. He was confident on the ball. He was getting into, positions that I think, Rangnick will be happy with. And I think obviously he took his goal exceptionally well, which we know he can do that kind of thing. And I think he's one who, could potentially come into the starting 11 off the back of that really good performance. But no, I actually think he will stick with the same team. I think Mason will definitely have a part to play in the game at some point. But yeah, I think it'll be the same team against Palace. But I am a lot more confident this week in terms of, a result and sort of, I am going to go one better actually this week, Keane. I'm going to predict the starting team right. I'm going to pick the result right. And I'm also going to put the first goal scorer as well.
Oh, he's being brave now.
So get your bet slips ready. You heard it here first. I'm going to say United to win. Obviously, the same team as against Palace. I'm going to say United to win 2-0. And I'm going to go for Sancho, first goal. So that's my prediction. 2-0 United, Sancho, first goal.
Sancho, first goal scorer, United 2-0. If this happens again, I think I might have to hand in my notes.
This is for the hat-trick, by the way, as well. So I got the Chelsea 1-1, bang on. I said the Palace game to be a tight game and we'd nick it late on, and Fred scored that, cross shot. It was a good finish. I'm only joking. It was a great finish, that, to be honest. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 win against Norwich. Sancho, first goal. And if this result comes in and I get this right, I'm going to start charging. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, if that happens, Wayne, if you're watching, I'm handing in my notice if that happens. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
So, Wayne, I want 10% of any money he's making.
Lee, give me yours. Lee, give me your score prediction for tomorrow.
Yeah, so I've been optimistic all season and it's done me no favours, but why break a bad habit? So I'm going to go for 3-1 to United, and I'm going to go for first goal scorer of Ronaldo, and I'm going to put another cheeky little optimistic thing in there, and I'm going to say Fred's going to get another one.
Another Fred goal. That would be absolute carnage.
And then if that comes in, I'm getting a taxi and I quit the show.
He's wrapping it up there, and then if that happens, my score prediction, I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna be more optimistic than the boat. I'm gonna go 5-0 United tomorrow, and I'm gonna go first goal scorer. I'll go Bruno first goal scorer tomorrow. He broke his duck against Arsenal. Norwich, it'd be the right type of opposition for him to score. So I'm going to go 5-0 Man United tomorrow, and I'm going to go Bruno to get off the score sheet. And if that happens, I'm coming on to the show next week with D-Generation X music on, and I'm going to have a DX shirt. I'm going to be telling everyone to suck it like Shawn Michaels and Triple H. That's what's going to happen tomorrow.
Phil said if that 5-0 comes in, he'll do a Gary Lineker and do the next show in his boxer shorts.
Oh, stop.
Get some more views.
Oh, no, probably lose them all.
Viewer discretion is advised if that happens.
Yeah.
But obviously, look, just before we wrap up, we do have obviously the Christmas period coming up. Obviously, there's been a lot of classic games for Manchester United over the Christmas period. We've had the games against Middlesbrough. We've had the games, against Newcastle, Tottenham, all these kind of classic games towards Christmas time. In your time playing or your time outside of the game, what is your favourite Manchester United game during the Christmas period? If there's any sort of memorable game around the Christmas period for the both of you. I'll leave this to the comments as well, comment section as well. Let us know what your favourite game was over the Christmas period. Lee, I'll come to you. What is your most memorable game for Manchester United in the round?
You just mentioned it. I think it was it the Middlesbrough game? I'm trying to think back to the Middlesbrough game. It was the Middlesbrough game, wasn't it, where we had was it Middlesbrough or Sunderland? I can't think which one it was, and it was an absolute corker. And we played. There's another one that was Newcastle, weren't there?
Yeah.
Is everyone there? Hello. Oh, my mic's gone again.
I think which year?
I don't know if you can hear me, guys. You've gone.
I can hear you.
Come on, Lee. You just named every team that's ever played in the Premier League. You just named every team that's ever played in the Premier League and said, "Oh, that was a good one." Sunderland, Newcastle, West Ham, Tottenham.
Phil, I think Lee's internet probably dropped out there because you couldn't hear it there for a moment. What is your most memorable? What would be your favourite Premier League game for Manchester United in around the Christmas period?
You've put me on the spot here. I'm trying to think back to a game which there's been that many over the years. I'm trying to think of one that's really stood out for me personally. And I can't actually think of one that I would say was the biggest or not.
Mine for me would be, I think it was the Newcastle 5-0 at Old Trafford when we battered them. Remember Ronaldo scored the free kick?
Yeah, that was a good game. Yeah, I do remember that, yeah. It's difficult. I mean,
another one could be the Stoke City game, Danny Welbeck's debut as well. That's another one.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Danny Welbeck's first game. I think he surprised a lot of people actually. I think he was a player that, when he first came into the team, there probably wasn't that much expectation, but I actually think he probably exceeded a little bit in terms of, what people may have thought he would have done. And I think I remember a lot of games where he linked up well with Van Persie. And games like, I think, Wigan. I remember him linking up with Van Persie against Wigan in one game where he was exceptional and he set him up for 2 or 3 goals. And he obviously went on to have a good career, but a player who maybe, didn't quite hit the heights because of injuries and stuff. But Danny was a great, obviously I, grew up with Danny and seeing him in the academy and stuff. And he was always a great player who had sort of, a lot about him. But yeah, such a talented player, just obviously had a few bad injuries and stuff. And, when he moved to Arsenal, didn't really get that run that he probably wanted.
Yeah, and look, I think, especially if you look at the year under David Moyes, Welbeck actually did put, in the second half of the season, did score quite a few goals. I think that Bayern Munich game killed him. When he tried to dink Neuer, when he probably could have, if he even took it around them or just went low, he would have scored. I think that knocked his confidence for the rest of the season. We just lost the again. That knocked his confidence for the rest of the season. And another one, actually, I forgot this one. It was in Van Persie's first season, the 4-3 against Newcastle. on Boxing Day in 2012 is another one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
Newcastle went right in front of that game.
Yeah. The Wigan one, that's the one I was thinking of. The one that Reece has just said there, 5-0 Boxing Day. Yeah, that was a great game. I think there was some great goals in that. That was probably the most memorable one for me. But yeah, there's been that many. I think, it was hard. You put me on the spot a little bit there, but yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
I knew there's always one question on the podcast where I just will put you both on the spot.
You stuck me there, to be honest, mate. You've done me. Ball me, middle stump.
I stitched both of you up there. Now I'm going to try to bring Lee back into the show now. Lee, can you hear us?
I'm back, mate. I think I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Mate, I don't know what the hell happened then. I was speaking 1 minute and you're gone.
Because you named every single team in the Premier League, we just cut you off. Because you know
what? I've just actually thought of one though.
He's been on Google. He's just been on Google.
I've been on Google. Did they not batter Wigan once 5-0 or 4-0 or something like that?
Yeah, that's the one I just said.
Oh, have you said that? Yeah.
You can't have that now.
And Reece said it there as well.
I was thinking of the Newcastle game. What I know Keane mentioned, was it the Sunderland game? But there was not a Newcastle game, 2-1 Christmas, which was a cracker. But then I remember
it was 4-0 or 5-0, and when Ronaldo scored that free kick under the wall when past Shea Given. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember watching that in the pub when I was younger. That game.
I was growing up. I was always a United fan, but I always supported Wigan too, and I always remember watching that game, and they absolutely battered us that game over Christmas. That was a bit embarrassing for Wigan alike, but United always battered Wigan. Every time they played us, they battered us anyway. I don't think we ever.
It was the League Cup final as well in 2006. Remember, Wigan's goalkeeper got injured early on, and that just changed the shape of the game that time.
Yeah. The Wigan was United was what Wigan's always bogey team. They used to cane us 5 and 6 more or less every time we played them.
Except that one time in 2012 when Sean Maloney, I believe, was it Maloney?
Yeah. I mean, they had some good players back in the day. They had some cracking players. Valencia, Palacios, Maloney, MacArthur. They had some great players back in the day. You know what I mean?
Chimbonda played in it as well.
Chimbonda. Pascal Chimbonda, they had a cracking.
Chimbonda went to Spurs after that as well. After the 06 season, didn't he? He went to Spurs in 06, 07. Wigan did have decent players, and didn't Jimmy Bullard play for him as well? Actually,
Jimmy's a Wigan legend.
Who was that striker? They had the black fella up front who used to score some goals.
Was it King? No, it wasn't King.
No.
Camera, they like called Camera. He was a cracker.
Was it Kamara?
Kamara, yeah.
It wasn't him.
They have another lad. He actually does a podcast on United, and he had nothing to do with United. I can't for the life of me think of his name. And that's the guy you're thinking of, and his name won't come to me.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
Kone,
yeah.
Aruna Kone, yeah.
They had Zaki, the Egyptian Zaki. Remember Zaki?
Amir Zaki, yeah.
Amir Zaki. There's some great players who come through Wigan.
I'll find out who that player is I'm thinking of.
I know Roberts in it.
No, not Jason Roberts. Weren't even in.
That's why I'm thinking Jason Roberts, because he does a podcast now on United, believe it or not.
Was it Hugo Rodallega?
Yeah. The Colombian.
I just googled Wigan Athletic Premier League strikers.
Yeah. That was it. Hugo Rodallega.
It was a shame, really, what happened to Wigan, because they had some great players, but it was a business, wasn't it, for Whelan? So we used to offload them all the time. You know what I mean? So if they would have kept the lads who they had, they possibly, and built on it, they possibly could have stayed where they was. But it'll always be a rugby turn. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing as well I touched on as well is Victoria's Secret says beating Forest on Boxing Day in 98 because it was the start of our unbeaten run to the end of the season, which ended nicely. Can anyone tell us in the comments what happened at the end of that season? Please let us know. But we've come to the end of the podcast. It's been a very good one. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'm going to leave it now down to the two lads. So obviously at the start of the podcast, I did say that we are giving away Wayne's book for the fledglings. And Lee and Phil are going to be picking the winner from the comment section tonight. So I messaged in the private chat there to you both, and I said, pick a winner from the comments at the end of the show tonight for the signed book. So, guys, who is the winner of tonight's giveaway? With who wants to say who won?
Go on, Phil.
I actually don't even know who's won, you know. I've not even looked at the comments. But
So click the comments tab there on screen there.
Hold on. Right. Is that you get the comments up?
Right, okay, let's have a look. For me, I mean, am I just picking this myself, or Lee, you having any input on this, or what?
No, I have no input.
You go for Phil.
Wayne said yourself and Lee can do it, so
right, I'll take charge. Right, I'm gonna go for Reece. Reece is gonna win the book, just because I think Reece's sort of interaction has been more fluent throughout the chat, and I think he always comes up with some really good facts that a true United supporter would know, and for me, Reece is going to win the book. I think he'll enjoy that as well. I think he'd like to read some of them stories in that book. So, well done, Reece. Happy Christmas. That'll be on its way to you.
Well done, Reece. And Wayne has said that will be signed by Phil and Lee as well. So you'll have a signed book from Phil and Lee, Fergie's Legends, and a lot of good stories in there, Reece. So well done. And obviously someone who is an active person who supports this channel and watches every single show that we do, whether it's this show here or Wayne's podcast or Dave's podcast. So he's a true supporter of Talk Devils, but also true supporter of Manchester United as well. So thanks very much, Reece, and well done. And I will send Wayne on your details. I get you in contact with Wayne, and we'll get that book out to you ASAP. And happy Christmas as well. I'm sure I'll talk to you, Reece, before the day is over anyway. But
I think Victoria's Secret deserves a shout too, because he's been on quite a bit.
Absolutely, Victoria's Secret has been there in every single
show.
Wayne
to send him a book as well.
Yeah,
Wayne's got loads of books. Listen, Wayne's got loads of books. We went to Old Trafford with Wayne the other week, and we signed about 50 books. Wayne's got plenty of books to give away. So Victoria's Secret's one book as well. Wayne, pull your finger out.
Pull your boots out, Wayne.
Absolutely. I'll drop Wayne a message and I'll say Victoria's Secret and Reece.
You're getting one as well.
A signed book from Phil and Lee. So that will come out to both of you. I'll get both of you details. I have both of you on Twitter, so I'll drop both of you a DM after the show and I'll get your addresses and I'll pop them onto Wayne then as well, and we'll get that sorted at the end of the show. But thanks very much everyone for watching. Thanks very much everyone's support this year, and we do have a lot more podcasts coming this week, and they're going into New Year in 2022 as well. So thanks very much everyone for watching. But most importantly, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and you will get the notification of our match reaction tomorrow. But until then, guys, thanks very much, and we'll be back next week.